Hello everybody out there, my name is Dominic and today we are going to talk about the future tenses. Stay tuned. So, as promised, today we are going to look at the topic using future tenses in the English language. So we go back to the future. We will have a short grammar revision and then in the end a short demo how one can use the future tenses in action on the basis of a monological task. So what are you going to experience today or to learn today or to revise today? That is first and foremost the will future. Then we are going to talk about the going to, or I am going to talk about the going to future. Then the future progressive, which is slightly more difficult. Generally, the future tenses are quite easy in English. And then also what's interesting to express future tenses, you've got also other possibilities, like expressing with words that express likelihood. We will come to that in a few moments, and then you will see it in action with these two topics, the future of advertising, the future of free trade. So we start right in the middle. I start to get the hang of this thing. I tend to like, or begin to like this thing. Okay, we start off with the will future. The will future is formed with the will, as it already suggests in the name, plus the infinitive, so the primary form of the verb, and that's it. So basically you have got here the person, I will swim. So it expresses a future action that someone in future is going to do that action. For example, you also have she or he will swim. Oh, swim. So it doesn't change. So it's not she will swims. If you do that, please throw yourself out of the window. No, don't do that. Obviously, Chris is laughing. I should not motivate you to commit suicide. So no, but bear that in mind. It's not happening in the future tenses. Then the negation is simply you. Right. First and foremost, there is a short form, I will. So you just drop the W and the I, and you make a short form, I'll swim. And then we've got the negation. The negation is formed with the not that you can see here. And there's also a short form, for example, I won't swim. So you will not swim in the future. And there's also the question, will you swim? Will she swim? Will we swim? And so on and so forth. Quite easy. Still remember it. And now it becomes slightly more tricky. When do I use this, this future tense exactly? First and foremost, the will future, there's a great difference between Brits and Americans. The Americans kind of tend to use only the will future. So that is basically correct for everything I say right now, also for the going to future. But there are differences and you might need these differences in the written exam or also in the oral exam. So I'm going to tell you about the differences there exist. The will future is used for surefire future action. So something that is absolutely surely happening in a near future. For example, the weather forecasts, they report the sun will shine tomorrow. So they know because of winds and so on and so forth that the sun will shine tomorrow. And yes, it will shine tomorrow. It's going to be hot again. It will be hot tomorrow. Then another thing is so something that happens for sure. Then another thing is when you want to express predictions or assumptions. So if you think that something might happen, and there is a possibility that something happens and you're not sure about it, but it could happen, like a fortune teller. I see that you will die tomorrow. When she looks in the crystal ball, for example. This is a prediction she makes, the fortune teller he makes. Or for example, maybe, I'm not sure, I will go will go swimming tomorrow. I don't know yet because I have a cold, and if the cold is better by tomorrow, I'm going to. Just another example. And also, what's interesting, spontaneous decisions. For example, if you have a plan that it's very spontaneous, and you decide to fulfill or to realize that plan in the moment, so right now, so very spontaneous. Like me right now, I will leave to grab a beer, so I'll do that now. Very spontaneous because it was not prepared. It was absolutely spontaneous. So if you do that, you use the will future. Fun fact. In the church, in German, you say, for example, willst du diese Frau heiraten? Ich will. For example, I asked a professor at university, for example, if they, if in English they say I will, but no, they don't. They translate that with I do. So just that you know the difference. You never know when you're going to do that. It's not a spontaneous decision in the moment. So remember that. Maybe it is in Las Vegas. Right, the going to future. First, let's have a look how you put the going to future together. First and foremost, you need the form of to be. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Then, as simple as it is, the puzzle piece going to plus the infinitive. So, what is that? That is, I am, you are, let's put it like this, she and it is, and so on and so forth. So that form you need, and depending on what kind of pronoun you use, a person you use. For example, I am, because it's there, going to swim. Or the short form, I'm going to swim, for example. And then the negation, I'm not going to swim, I am not going to swim, and there's the question, are you going to swim? If you ask for a short, this is how you form it. Now, when do I use it? For example, if you have a planned future action, so something that is absolutely clear that you are going to do. For example, he's going to drink champagne at the party because champagne might be the only drink there, or he likes it, or it is the first drink there, or you are a detective and you have a look at the drinking history of a certain person and you want to put a drop of poison in that champagne, and you need to be sure that because of his habits in the past, he is going to drink it. Just as an example. And so planned future actions and also logical assumptions, which means like here an example, you're at the playground where the kids play and you see a kid that climbs up the climbing scaffold and it's fumbling and tumbling, and then you say, oh, look at that kid, it is going to fall down the climbing scaffold. So if you see something that is immediately translating into an action that you are absolutely sure that it's going to happen. Or, for example, I'm going to the supermarket afterwards because your fridge is empty, and when you had a look at the fridge and you see, okay, oh look, my fridge is empty. I'm going to buy grocery afterwards because you just need it, because otherwise you won't have something to eat at night. Good. So let's have a look at the future progressive, the trickier one of the three. It is formed with will, be, the infinitive form, plus ing. So 4 puzzle pieces for this. Pardon me, for this tense. As an example, I will be swimming, or the short form, I'll be swimming. The negation, I will not be swimming, or I won't be swimming if you want to shorten it. I'll write it down, I won't. and so on and so forth. Will you be swimming, for example, is the question. Okay, when do we use that term, that term, that tense? Okay, you use it for possible future actions that will last until the future, yet have already begun in the present. It might sound a little bit difficult, but it sums it up perfectly. So let's look at the example. You're talking about the future. When I come to work, so I say that now, this happens right now, this sentence. Now, when I come to work, and yes, you can also use the present tense, the present simple for future, for the future, but it's for you for the A levels. It's if you want to talk about the future, go for the will or going to future, and depending on the situation, you use the progressive, because here, like when I come to work, is the present simple. Okay, when I come to work, this is when I say the sentence and what I talk about the future. My colleagues will be waiting for me. So this is the moment when I come, and they already started to work somewhere in the future, and they will be waiting maybe because I don't enter immediately at my working place, for example. The same is when we arrive there, Susan will be probably swimming in the pool. Just imagine you plan your vacation somewhere, your holidays. Okay, you say your friends are already there, for example, and you know that they enjoy swimming, and it will be in the afternoon when you arrive, and what do you do at a hot summer's day? You jump in the pool and you swim. And this is when you expect her to swim. It's a longer action in the future. It is used, and it's sometimes necessary that you have got this tense. However, it is rarely used in comparison to the other two. However, it is important that you know about it. Okay, before we talk about the... yes, before we talk about the likelihood, just a quick revision. The will future, which the most important aspect is the spontaneous decision. Then the going to future, when it's a planned future. And then we've got the future progressive, when you talk about longer actions in the past that will be happening while you talk about it. You assume something that's surely going to happen. Right, but in English, besides these three tenses plus the present simple as you've just seen, you also have other possibilities to express likelihood, so something that might happen, so may be happening. And the first thing you can use are modal verbs. And the modal verbs are, for example, can, could, may, might. And these express a possibility, eine Möglichkeit, likelihood, so something that might be happening in the future. Like, for example, today I had this very same thought in my head. I saw dark clouds in the sky, and I was hoping for rain because it's so hot. And I thought, okay, it might rain today. Or I could also say it can rain today. Or it could rain today, or it may rain today. There are slight differences between the modal verbs, but we are going to talk about modal verbs in another video. For this specific reason, and concerning likelihood of the future, you can use all of the three. They are interchangeable. Can, though, is the strongest. So if you see that rain is approaching, it can rain, so it's quite sure that it's going to rain, and these are less likely in comparison to the others. That is something you need to bear in mind. Right, and then there are also phrases that help you to express likelihood, so something that could happen, like, for example, probably, or there is a good chance that, or the odds are quite likely, it's quite likely that, and perhaps. So very British when you want to express something that is likely to happen, or that is happening in the future. You can use these phrases, for example. probably it's going to rain. Or there is a good chance that it will rain tomorrow. Or the odds are high that it's going to rain. Or it's quite likely that it will be raining in London tomorrow when we arrive there. Or perhaps it's going to rain. Just other examples with the very same sentence. I'm just over-exaggerating, hoping that you will remember it more easily in that way. Okay, right. So we talked about these issues right now, and now we're going to have a look at an example. You've got the link down here below. And we are going to talk about the future of advertising. It's just out a puzzle piece out of an exam, and we are going to do it very briefly. We jump in the middle of it. We are not going to have the whole exam, so you get two examples, and experience two examples, and how the future tenses are used in action. Let's have a look at the situation. Hang on, I'll just scroll up a little bit. Chris is getting ready. Yes. You can't see it, but you can hear him. Okay, you're an expert in advertising. Ooh, that's what the title actually suggests. Right, and you're invited to hold a presentation for several Innsbruck-based companies who want to know more about the future of advertising. Talk about the following. Describe how advertising will work in future. So possibilities like micro-marketing or product placement in social media and so on and so forth, as a little bit of input, and give examples where one may market products. So what are certain domains where one could place something, and give advice what will be the safest possibility to place a product, so product placement in the end. And we turn to Chris, our expert in the field. Yes. And let's start off immediately with the presentation.
My name is Fred.
Hey Fred. Hi Fred.
I'd like to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to my talk tonight. I'm an expert in advertising, and I'm going to discuss today the following points. The future of advertising. Then I'm gonna mention several examples where you can place your adverts. Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, I'll give you some advice what will be the safest possibility to place a product. As I've already mentioned, the future of trading, the future of advertisement is quite difficult to predict, I think, since back in the days it started with advertising in films, so product placement. And nowadays we're already in the age where advertisement is everywhere. So you open an app on your phone, and most of the time, if the app was for free, there you will get some ads of different topics you looked up. And I think one thing that in the future will certainly be increased is advertising via phone and via WhatsApp. Since Facebook owns WhatsApp, basically, mm-hmm. Facebook will at some point of time I'm not sure, of course, it's just predictions. Facebook will start making advertisements in the WhatsApp app.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Let's have a look at what Chris has just said. Can I have this thing back on? Is there someone in the stream If you've got a question, ask the question right now. And
So
leave a
far-
like down below.
So far, nobody has commented on our awesome stream today. But
Awesome stream. It's absolutely awesome. Let's have a look. First and foremost, what's absolutely important and what Chris does with super confidence is to start off the presentation with a smile and via being super friendly, and this is a big plus, so always remember that. Oh, right. And I had a specific ear now for the future tenses, and for example, he used the I'm gonna, an American version of I'm going to, which is absolutely fine. I will give you advice on la 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 la. So he told the audience what he's going to do. So something that is surefire happening in the future. And he also used other phrases to express future actions. For example, it is quite difficult to predict. So if you predict something, it is something that happens in the future. And then, for example, most of the time will be... okay, right. Most of the time, advertising will be increased. Sorry for writing over that bits and pieces, but we look at future tenses in more detail right now. Will be increased, blah, blah, blah. And also, I'm not sure, but Facebook will. So also making predictions, something that it might be happening in the future. He uses these tenses, and as you see, it is he used it quite a lot in these few minutes that he was on, and this might be one of your topics. Let's have a look at the second example. So you've got the link here where you can find more, obviously, an input concerning that topic, and also here is another one. Talking about free trade, that is actually a video, if I'm not too wrong, or was it a video? I think so. It's a more extensive one. Yes, it is a video. It is 90 minutes long, but it's very detailed, and they talk about the political situation concerning free trade at the moment, because it's something that's happening right now. Look at such things, what's happening in the media, because topics that are actually there at the moment are quite likely to be in your exam. Let's have a look at the exam. Have you got a question?
yes, we have actually a question from Narida.
Ooh, yes.
Other than Narida asked what other ways could he have given a prediction other than I'm not sure, but. So we're talking actually about developments that can be predicted. So as I think the WhatsApp argument that advertisement is going to be on WhatsApp can be also a certain prediction.
Well,
what do you think about
but you need to, well, yeah, it might be, yes,
Yeah.
because they already do it, like with incorporating advertising in Instagram, and WhatsApp and Facebook are actually closely connected. I'm not sure about that, if they can do it concerning privacy reasons, because I think the tense was correctly chosen right now concerning the legal situation, because you use your own number at the moment. So I'm not sure if it's. So I would go for what you suggested with your time tense construction in the monologue right now, which, however, it can be possible though. But so far, I hope that is the question, or I answered the question. I have a look at it again. What other ways could he be given a prediction on? What otherwise? Yeah, for example, one could think of in terms of micro marketing, not just mobile phones, also smartwatches, TV, not to forget print media, which works all the way. But for example, applications actually track down which ways you usually take in your daily life, and these pieces of information can be transferred to marketing societies, and they can put billboards somewhere. For example, Pokemon Go tracks actually where you go, and they can specifically give that pieces of information to someone that Pokemon Go nerds actually are there, and then place a product, for example, for a new console there and there, because the likelihood is great that loads of Pokemon Go players will be at that place, because there is, for example, an arena there. I think that is another possibility to think about. There's a second question.
Can you give me examples with other models?
With other models, not at the moment, sorry. But we'll have a look at it or think at it. Maybe you're going to think about it right now while I explain that. But at the moment, I don't have an example. Do you have an example? That's actually a good idea, to use your knowledge of the world. That is a good idea. Because I don't know everything. I had a look at this topic for the presentation.
Yeah, we have an example.
Yes.
So, for example, WhatsApp might use advertising directly in their app. So just with other models.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not sure. Maybe happening, but I think due to legal reasons, because you have the number of a person, it's not going to happen. I think it can happen, obviously, but
therefore
I think then
it might.
Yeah. Thank you. Right, let's have a look at the second example. You're an expert concerning free trade. You're an expert in economy. You are invited to hold a presentation for companies who want to know more about the upcoming changes triggered by Trump and Brexit. Talk about the following, describe Brexit affected trading. I describe how Brexit affected trading, pardon me for that. How Brexit affected trading with the EU. Explain why Trump has a major influence on the future of free trading, and predict what might be happening to free trading. We'll jump, as I said, it's a puzzle piece out of an exam, and we jump right in the middle of the exam at the monological part. So let's hit it off, Chris.
Hello. My name is Fred, and I'm an expert in economy. And today I'd like to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to my talk about the free trade and upcoming changes triggered by the Brexit and Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, the President of the United States. Mm-hmm. So at first, I want to talk about how the Brexit affected trading with the EU, actually. Then I'm going to talk about the influence of Trump on the free trade. And then I try to predict what might happen to free trading. So I'm going to start off with the first point. Since the majority of the citizens of the UK have decided on the Brexit, so to quit the EU, there are certain changes in free trading, of course. So the EU normally has lowered tariffs with countries that are within the EU. So therefore, the Brexit changes a lot. They're right now discussing how the UK can still uphold reduced tariffs, basically, but I'm sure that most of the EU, basically the supporters of the EU, and won't make too much collaboration with the UK. So I think the tariffs will certainly increase, and Trump might also play a role in there. Basically, he plays a role, but therefore I'm using might because Trump, you can never be sure about Trump.
True.
And we all heard when the EU or when the UK announced that they are leaving the European Union. Trump is going to make some special deals with the EU just to be in favor of the UK and at Brexit. But at the same time, Trump is supporting protectionism in his own country. So he wants to produce a lot of products in the US. He advertises that people should get their jobs back. He wants to create jobs, of course. He wants to get factories that they abandon their production in China and go back to the US and make some offers that are that will be good for the US economy. But at the same time, of course, we have to think about back in the days why protectionism was neglected, and it was when Adam Smith actually developed the free trade. So it's always better for an economy to not only produce everything in your own country, because there are certain countries, of course, that can do stuff or things better than others. So the French are good at making cheese. Of course, the US can make cheese, but they have other specialties, as cars not, but other specialties such as, for example, making planes. The French do also make planes, but the Americans are with Airbus. They're with Boeing. I'm sorry, they're quite good. So it doesn't work actually. And
wrap it up.
Yeah, I try to wrap it up with the last point, with the prediction what might happen to free trading. And I think free trading will be still present in the future, but I think there must be improvement in the basically how we treat our workers. Because of course free trade is, on an economically standpoint, it's great for economy, but at the same time you lose jobs in your country, of course. And nobody thinks about that or hasn't really thought about it, and therefore we possibility might be to just re-tax the income that we have in our great economy, and use it for education, for social reforms, or social not social what I forgot, lost everything I wanted to say. Basically, support poor families and just have a good social system that, for example, in Sweden, it's like the most present example how it can work. Yes, that's basically my prediction. How it might be and how it should be, actually, in my point of view, of course. But Sweden basically serves as a role model.
Super. Thank you very much for your very interesting talk. Let's have a look at the what I wrote down in the during Chris's monologue of Brad's or Fred's. What was it? Fred's talk about the future of free trade. And we going to look at first at the future tenses that he used. For example, he said I'm gonna talk about, I try to predict, so he expresses a possibility. He also said that Brexit changes a lot. So this is a general statement for the present that's happening at the moment. It's a general truth which happened in the past, at the moment, and in the future. This was a sentence that really also, when you use the present simple to express future aspects. So it is something surefire that is happening. So you've got a super example if you scroll back in time then.
We have
down
actually
there.
a question to that, which is quite interesting, I think.
Yes.
Because the question is changes or will change, and I think that both are possible.
Both are absolutely possible because the will future, as I said, is, let's scroll up there. The will future is something that is surefire for future reactions, and changes is something that is already happening right now and has a future relevance. So the present simple is possible in both cases. And so that was quite kind of interesting. You can rewind it and rewind it then afterwards. Then other possibilities to express the likelihood. For example, I'm sure the supporters of the EU want collaborate. So this is also expressing an opinion, something that you think that is going that might happen in the future, and want is a combination of will not as well. Then we also have the will increase, Trump might, and you also explained it then, argued then for it, because you're never sure with Trump what way he's going to swing them by the end of the day. This is why a modal verb is absolutely, or might as a modal verb is very well chosen to express likelihood. What's also interesting was he wants to create another examples on jobs. So this is basically what he says, what he plans to do. But we will see if he really is able to translate his plan to reality. So this is something he promoted. He wants to create job, which is something in the future, but he uses the present tense. But only time will tell us if that's going to happen. And it's way stronger in the English language to say I want to create jobs than I will to create jobs, because you might have the connotation in this case. Let's go back. The will future, that is a spontaneous decision. Might be as well with Donald Trump. Yes. Oh no, I'm getting political in this stream. I shouldn't. This is gonna ruin my life. No. I'm having so much fun. Oh, for example, offers that will be made, for example, or what might happen. Free trade will be present in the future, or the possibility might be for example, Sweden might be a solution where to go to where they handle situations differently. And this is also given possibilities and a likelihood for something, and that I found was well chosen concerning the topics and also the bullet points that were asked for this for this monological part of the exam. So I don't know if there are any questions left.
Yes, we have one question here. Can you give me an example of likely to? So something is likely to happen in a sentence on this topic. So in this topic, it's gonna be President Trump is likely to lower tariffs on the UK.
In comparison to the EU, for example. Yeah. Yes. Or it might be happening, or for example, or it so as another beginning of the sentence, for example. Okay, another question?
No. So far not.
So thank you for the interaction. This was the stream on future tenses. We went back to the future, had a grammar revision as well. And then we had two topics where we talked about and had a special look at the future tenses in use in the monological part. And so far, I wish you a very nice evening. Enjoy a cold and refreshing drink somewhere, best of the case on your balcony. And we wish you both a very nice early weekend in best of the case. Goodbye!